So welcome to the live stream, everybody. As you all know, ever since last night, the markets saw an absolute nuke, specifically altcoins. Bitcoin actually didn't see anything all too unexpected. I was actually calling for this bit of a pullback in my last video, and we'll get into that. But what I'm really focused on right now is looking at the altcoin market. It's been so volatile. Specifically these altcoins that have been deemed securities by the SEC, several of them, including big ones like Solana, Matic. These have been deemed as securities, and exchanges like Binance, Robinhood have been delisting these coins. So obviously things are very scary for the hodlers of these coins, and a lot of uncertainty, so there's a lot of panic selling in the market. So altcoins looking a lot more bloody than Bitcoin. There's a few not so bad things that I want to go over, however. Just something that grabbed my attention when I really zoomed out and look at this. Let's just pretend this isn't a weekly chart. Let's pretend it's just any other chart, a 5-minute, a 15-minute, an hourly chart, anything like that. As far as basic structure goes, and I've been talking about this in many of my previous videos, is here we had our low, and then we actually set a lower low. And this was our market bottom. This is when the whole FTX debacle happened, where that exchange just just totally got fucked, and everybody with their money on that exchange got totally bent over. That was where our market bottomed, and this is Solana, just for reference here. So after setting that lower low with the FTX dump, we obviously have this as our lower high as far as this longer trend goes. And you can see that we obviously did break above that level. Candle closes well above. So that downward structure was actually broken when we closed above this high. So right now, this is just kind of looking like a natural pullback. If you look at it, again, just ignoring the numbers, ignoring the fact that we dumped 20% over a few minutes, just as far as the actual chart structure is, this is totally normal. It looks to me like we're probably pulling back towards around the 786, 886 Fibonacci's. And since we do have that confirmed higher high here, that's basically what I'd be looking at as far as a healthy pullback if we were to lose the 386 or the 382 rather. In a very strong market trend, the 382 will be respected as support or resistance depending which way the market is trending. And you can see for quite a while here after we topped out, we did get that perfect bounce at the 382. But once we dumped that level, even though it took a long time to play out, it kind of confirmed that the trend was going to switch briefly and possibly see a bigger pullback. And quite often, I know on shorter time frames I've talked about this, where if we drop that 382, quite often we'll drop to my 786 or 886 pocket here. And that's been my favorite Fibonacci pocket for this whole cycle, basically. It's been respected so well. So when we look at just looking for a basic pullback, I mean, we're just shy of the 786 yet, so nothing too crazy has really happened. I really wouldn't be too surprised to see us dump a little bit further yet on coins like Solana with all the fear right now. That would just be a basic pullback after a structure breaks. So not all hope is lost there. That still may be a confirmed bottom as far as the market cycle goes. Obviously, if we drop this level, that's going to basically invalidate that theory. And that's a long ways away from now. So obviously, I'm not setting trades on that. It's like if we were to invalidate it, I mean, that's a 50% dump from here. I'm more into trading shorter time frames, but it's just good to kind of zoom out once in a while just to take a deep breath and really go over what's actually happening in the market when we zoom out here. Nothing too crazy is happening. Yes, it's very volatile, and yes, there's some scary times for some of these coins. But in the grand scheme of things, as far as the chart goes, not all too bad. And I mean, Matic looks the same, right? Yes, it looks like trash, that it looks weak. We're seeing this little downtrend forming. But again, kind of the same market structure. Again, well, this is a daily chart here. We had a low, had our lower low. Well, we broke that structure obviously here. So now we're just kind of getting a pullback, and really to invalidate this bullish structure, we'd have to lose this bottom here. And once again, it's quite a ways away. But there's just a lot of areas where we could find support yet. Again, just pulling up the Fibonacci, probably the same thing. I'm guessing close to the 786. Actually, yeah, right smack dab in the middle of that pocket. So, I mean, yeah, again, it looks scary, it looks weak, but support always looks scary and weak until it actually gets the bounce. So, as far as scalping goes, yes, I'm favoring the short side right now just because everyone's so quick to pull the sell trigger. Right now, everybody's on edge. So yes, that's generally what I've been scalping as shorts right now, kind of on the 1 minute or 5 minute. But as a overall market structure, all hope isn't necessarily lost yet. So I just wanted to point that out on both of these altcoins, even though they're seeing some uncertainty right now. As far as this chart goes, it's hopefully they'll kind of come out ahead. I mean, it's hard to say what's going to happen. But yeah, like I said, I trade shorter time frames anyways. As far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, this is kind of what it all comes down to, the health of the market generally. I know that this chart also looks a little scary. It kind of looks like we're just rolling over, about to take a big dump to the downside here. But one pattern caught my eye this morning is we actually have a fairly bullish pattern here. I know I've been talking about this downward sloping trend line since all the way back here. I was expecting some kind of a third touch point eventually. We obviously saw that and got a big rejection there. But something else going with this resistance here, now that we have these 3 touch points on this resistance, that's where I would consider a breakout of that trend line quite bullish if we got one now. Just because we do have those 3 confirmed touch points. I don't like to give too much credit to a trend line until it has at least 3 rejections along it, and that would meet that criteria there. So I think a break of that downward trend line at this point could be a very good thing for the market. And interestingly enough, we have quite an interesting pattern here. You guys may know what I'm getting at. Oh, where is it here? Looks like a bit of a falling wedge. And you guys know that generally speaking, these patterns are a bullish pattern. So especially after we have our 3 touch points, if this is to break to the upside, I mean, that could be a very good sign for the Bitcoin market. Another level to watch for if we do end up dropping this support, something I've been watching for a while now, is this upward sloping support line. And I know MDX has been watching this line as well as a lot of other YouTubers and influencers. But I've been quite vocal in my past few videos that this is another trend line that I really wouldn't be too surprised to see a third touch point of. So even though we have this bullish falling wedge here, I wouldn't be too surprised to see some kind of a fake out, maybe tag a third touch point along this support and then get a continuation reversal or pattern reversal there, a little bit of a fake out. That would be something very interesting for Bitcoin. Again, this is looking ahead quite a bit, and we're saying a lot of what ifs here, just kind of levels to watch for, because as always, guys, it's more important to be able to react to the price rather than predict. Basically, I map out some trend lines, I watch how they're respected and that sort of thing. So as it stands right now, it kind of looks like Bitcoin's forming a little bit of a double bottom, as well, possibly holding support of this potential falling wedge here. And another interesting level, and I saw MDX mention this as well, is, I mean, this would be a perfect level for a resist support flip. I mean, there's no denying that this is an important level for the market. I mean, look how powerful this trend line has been. So the fact that we're testing it from the top right now, I mean, Bitcoin might be in a very good position here. It looks weak right now, but again, support always looks weak until it gets its bounce. So just a few things to watch for there, you guys. Just to keep caution on our minds here, as far as looking at something potentially bearish here, is on the 4 hour, we do have this moving average cloud above us showing some resistance on the ALGO 3. And another thing, as far as scalping strategies I've used on smaller time frames and just bringing it over to the 4 hour here, you can see that we've actually been setting lower highs and lower lows with our reversal warnings. That's these orange W's here. So you can see that we had one, we had a lower one, we had a lower one. These ones are basically in line, lower, lower. And yeah, we're going to have to see if we end up getting another lower W. It's not a perfect scalping strategy, but it's great confluence to have the ALGO 3 basically pointing out signals in a trending market. It just really helps draw your attention to which way the market is trending. Because as well as these lower highs that we're setting with those reversal warnings, same thing on the support bounces, right? I mean, we have our W, we have a lower W, lower W, lower W, lower one. Here we had a higher one very briefly, but we're still just kind of setting lower Ws. So the market, again, just the ALGO 3 helping confirm that we are in a bit of a downtrend. So that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, just basically, I don't think all hope is lost yet. I think that basically as long as Bitcoin stays above this upward sloping green trend line, I think we're okay. And I mean, that is way down at around 24K right now. So yeah, we might see a further tumble. If we drop that support level, I mean, that's where things could get very interesting. We might not have another support level until the bottom of this range. That would kind of be our next higher low on this trend as we were trending up. And that's way down at basically 20K, kind of that 19.6, 19.5 thousand. So, I mean, if we get a third touch point on this green trend line and then break it on our fourth push, flip it into resistance, that could be a very violent move to the downside, in my opinion. But again, I think it really matters what happens with this little wedge we have here. It's coiling up quite nicely. We're respecting it on the support as well as the resistance, more than 3 touch points on both, or more than 3 on the support. 3 perfect ones on the resistance. So either way this breaks, really could carry a lot of weight on that. So just be a little bit cautious with that, you guys. Bringing up the other indicators. What do we all have here? Back here when we bottomed out, you can see this is actually one strategy that I really like with these indicators, is when they all kind of line up together. And I haven't been really focusing on Bitcoin lately, not gonna lie, but this is one thing that I really like with these indicators, is where you see all 3 kind of lining up together. And by that I mean we have the oscillator 4 up here with this bullish pivot. We had take profit if you were in a short position, as well as bright green candles right along my trend line. That's just using this indicator as confluence, because I have my trend line. Indicators kind of agreeing there was support here. And the oscillator 5 down here has a big green dot as well. So all 3 kind of lined up with my own analysis there. So that bounce wasn't all too uncalled for. But the thing that is a little bit concerning with that, and I pointed this out in my last video, is that I did like that, you know, after basically losing this support, we did get a fairly nice recovery there. The only thing I don't like about that, if I just flip the indicators off here, is I would have really liked to see us break above that box, because at that point we had, just on this very micro downtrend here we had very briefly there, we obviously had our low, lower low, lower low. So between our low here and our lower low here, this is obviously our lower high. So that was the level of resistance that we had to break and actually get candle body closes above if we wanted to kind of get some hope at a bullish move there. So I was warning that, I think in my last video we were trading right here and I was pointing out this box and I was just warning that it looked like we might see a rejection. As far as that goes, even on a bigger swing of things, obviously we have our low here and we did set a lower low here, so the structure is technically bearish on a bigger swing here, and that would leave this as our lower high. So I would actually say for us to be quite bullish, we'd actually want to break above that box. I'm just going to make it red. If we can get some candle bodies closing above this red box, I think Bitcoin would be in a very nice position. But really, even above this blue box here, we just need to at least get above that, in my opinion, before I can at least start getting a little bit bullish. So we're going to have to see what happens along the support of this little wedge here. So I'm just going to go through a couple questions here. I see people have been talking a little bit. Still just trying to figure out a strategy with this algo. Hey, did you see? I actually tagged you in the indicators channel, and because you were asking about strategies the one day, and especially the fact that you said you're here because of me. I did tag you in a couple, at least one strategy I was using, and I think it was when all the, I think the one I tagged you in was when all three indicators kind of line up together. I was also talking about a double top. There was a double top I had played where there was reversal warnings basically lining up with each other, confirming a double top. That was another strategy I use. How do you update the indicators? To update the indicators, you guys, you just have to remove it. So you just click the X on your MDX ALGO 3, for example, and then you would just bring it up again with the indicators. It would just bring it up fresh, and it should have the new settings or the new features or the new speed, whatever the updates were. It doesnn't hurt too, after you remove the indicator, maybe even refresh your browser or refresh your web page, and then reload the indicator. And after you reload it, a couple things that you want to make sure you do. Sometimes the candles will look a little bit funny, like they're not clean or crisp or anything. What you got to do is right click on any of the signals or click on the three dots and change your visual order to bring to front. That'll make everything look nice and crisp like mine is. And also right click on the side here and make sure it's scale price chart only. Those are the two things that you want to make sure you have done. But yeah, there's been some speed updates and stuff like that. I just want to check in. I am in a bit of a Solana short right now. It was actually a hedge because I took a little bit of a long this morning. And as I updated my stop loss, I took a little bit of profits and I took a bit of a hedge short. And that's actually all I'm in now. The rest of my long was stopped at break even, so I'm just in the short on Solana right now. I have closed about 3/4 of it now at this point. But yeah, basically I entered a short up here. And the reason I took this hedge short is so I was riding along, basically catching this pump here. As we started setting these higher lows, I was updating the stop loss on my long position. But when we got this candle body close, basically just this little break in structure here, it wasn't really a break of an actual higher low, but I was just thinking, since things are so shaky right now, the markets are a little bit weak, I just wanted to take a stab at a bit of a hedge short. So basically when this red candle body closed, I entered a position right here and have been riding it down. So as it stands right now, we had our low here, lower low here. So our lower high would be this level here. So I actually have my stop loss just above here a little bit. And I actually do have another entry into the position right in line with the top of this range here, because basically I want to add back into my position because, like I said, I only have about a quarter open still, and I'm leaving it for now because just in case we get to Nuketown and we just end up catching a big runner here. But if we get back up to this level, if my short is to keep playing out, I don't really want to see us break above this level because that could be a change in the structure and we might actually see a further move to the upside. So I have a nice tight stop loss there and I can add to my position here. My stop loss is still going to be basically break even if I add to my position at this level. So this is one of those times where I do actually have a blind order set. I do have a limit short order at this level right now, just because I feel so secure in doing so, because if I lose on this position, we break above this blue line, I'll get stopped out very quickly. So very tight stop loss on that addition into my position. Just this market is so volatile right now. Very quick to update stop losses. I'm trading very short time frames, and yeah, just very quick to close half of a position because this is just crazy volatility right now. But what I'm hoping for basically is I'm hoping to see that we end up just basically dropping back down to these lows. I mean, that would be a beautiful short right now on 20x from here if we could get a dump back down to these levels. That would be a juicy runner. So that's kind of why I'm leaving a part of my position open for now. As far as even the 15-minute here, I mean, our lower high is all the way up here. So yeah, even if I get stopped out, I mean, I'm still probably going to be leaning to the short side for now. I'll be waiting. At that point, I'm not setting any limit orders up here or anything like that. I think it's too dangerous, and I'd want to see how we're reacting with that level. I would actually, something I'm going to do is I am going to set an alert at that level to go once every minute until I pay attention to my phone. Just in case we do end up getting a pump to that level, if we get some kind of a failed break at that lower high on the 15-minute on a shorter time frame, like a 5-minute or a 1-minute, I would be interested in shorting up there as well, taking another stab at it. But as it stands right now, I'm looking at the shorter time frame. I don't need this line here. I'm going to move this one. Yeah, that was just up here. I've had some friends do Elliott Wave, and they have called this on BTC for money for weeks. They reckon 24.8k, then big bounce. Yeah, I could totally see that. I honestly think we could go a little bit lower. Like I said, if we test that diagonal upward sloping trend line on Bitcoin that I was talking about, that green one, that would be closer to 24k, so maybe even a little lower than that 24.8. Obviously anything can happen. I'm not an Elliott Wave guy, so I'm not too sure, but I've seen some people be very accurate with those. It's just not something I've done. But yeah, I could definitely see prices going a little bit lower. It really depends. Like, even right now, we do have this, technically it's a double bottom right now, right along support here. There's a lot of things going for it right now, but usually before you get a nice big aggressive bounce, you'll get some kind of a liquidity grab. So I'd almost feel better about it if we did get some kind of a wick below this blue line. Just kind of a failed break of this level here. Some kind of a liquidity grab would actually give me a little more confidence in pulling the trigger on a long. Just clean things up a little bit here. What's Matic doing? Probably very similar to Solana. Maybe even a little better. Because as far as this little downtrend goes, I'd actually say this is our low, lower low. So lower high is right about there. So, I mean, it does look like this structure has broken, even if we get some kind of a pullback. But, yeah, I would personally wait. I would like to see a bit of a pullback before getting into this. Although, actually, if we got candle bodies closing above this this little level here, this is really micro analyzing. But as far as getting into a very tight stop loss scalp, if we got a close above this level, I'd be comfortable taking a swing at a long with a stop loss basically just below this structure here. It would be very degenerate, but again, we don't have a close above this level. As it stands right now, this is just looking like almost a little bit of a failed break. Kind of a double top sort of a situation. Even if it does climb here, I'm just not comfortable adding any kind of a position there right now. Like I said, I would love to see Solana get back up to this level here and take a stab at adding back into my position. And like I said, even if it gets stopped out after that, I've already locked in 3/4 of my position down here, so I've taken good profits. So if I do get stopped out on the rest of my position after re-adding here, I'm still going to have made a profit on this short. So with a little luck, We perfectly respect the technicals, respect that lower high, and add to my position there. Get a big dumperoonie straight back down to where we started. That would just be a perfect scenario. Obviously, the market doesn't give a shit about my feelings, but that's what I'm aiming for right now. Stop me if any of this, like, I know I'm kind of rambling and getting a bit tongue-tied. Let me know if this doesn't make sense, if anyone wants me to repeat anything. I'm hoping the way I'm explaining market structure makes sense to you guys, like the higher highs and the higher lows. I know a lot of people like to kind of consider price levels a higher high or a lower low, for example, a little bit premature. I like to see that actual structure break before I confirm it as a level. For example, this is not confirmed as a lower high, whereas I think a lot of people would assume that that is a lower high. I don't consider it that because we have not broke this low here. If we break this low, then I would consider moving this yellow line to this level. Hopefully that makes sense. What's Bitcoin looking like on a good old DGen here? You can tell it's in resistance right now, this little moving average cloud. I've honestly, guys, I've barely been looking at Bitcoin lately. You've probably noticed in the Discord I haven't been posting in the Bitcoin group very much. I've been looking at altcoins a lot more just because Bitcoin has just been not near as volatile with all this uncertainty. I mean, man, those floodgates can open so fast when a little bit of fear comes into the altcoin market like that. That's just kind of what I've been focusing on, little scalps here and there. They play out very quickly quite often, so... let's see if I'll be able to jump the gun on adding to my position a little bit. Not really yet. Just curious, ever since confirming that level, where... Yeah, see, I just love that. Those Fibonacci's right there. Look how well that was respected after we bounced. That's exactly where we got shut down. Crazy how well those fib levels get respected. And guys, obviously trading the 1 minute isn't for everybody. I know I say this every video, but like this is just the easiest way for me to kind of show you guys strategies and stuff that I personally use, but they work the same. Like the structure works the same on a 4-hour chart or a 1 minute chart or a 15-minute chart, a weekly chart. Chart structure works the same. So it really doesn't matter. Just obviously you don't want to be entering a position on a 1 minute chart like this, for example, and expect a move to new lows, for example. I'm not expecting the market to just see absolute new bear market bottoms after entering a short position on a 1 minute, right? It's important to, if you're entering trades, whatever time frame you're entering positions on, keep that in mind when you're thinking about taking profits. I'm not entering a 1 minute chart hoping to catch a 4-hour move. I mean, I will for part of a position, but it's important to take profits along the way. And yes, I love it when a position can end up going running. Let's say like this, for example, you know, I closed 3/4 of it relatively quickly. Now it's stress free and I can just hope to catch a runner with the last quarter. Very nice position to be in. But yeah, I'm personally more of a scalper. I honestly trade the 1 minute and the 5 minute better than I trade the 1 hour or the 4 hour. I don't think many people feel that same way. It totally depends on your personal trading methods. It's always important to do some back testing, find out what catches your eye. Because we could have the same charts, the same patterns, the same trend lines, same indicators with the same preferences, same settings, all that kind of stuff, and we could trade the chart completely different. So there's no set strategy that's always going to work. It really depends what works for you, right? We are seeing another reversal warning, a bearish one, as we're trading in that moving average cloud. The one thing with this is we don't have a lower W yet. We never did get one up here. If we now saw another, let's say another W just lower up here, something like that, I would be interested in adding to my short position a little bit. And again, I would just be updating my stop loss, having it just probably above this level at that point. If I had the lower highs showing up in the W's, I would bump my stop loss up a little tighter. I'd still have a little bit of wiggle room from the higher W, the previous one. But that is one strategy that I've used with these indicators as well. And I'm not sure, I know some of you guys have seen me talk about those before. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, just using the W's to help point out a trend, basically. Actually, here would have been an example of a scalp that you could have taken off that from the bullish side. Is here we kind of, well, yeah, either from here all the way up to there. Obviously, we have a higher W there, higher bullish W. So yeah, we did absolutely get a nice little snipe to the upside if you would have taken it. That's a little riskier because when I use that strategy, I personally like to keep my stop loss shy of or a little past the previous W. So if I had my stop loss somewhere down there, I mean, that's a pretty big loss there. Whereas, let's say you waited and played one more like this, where we have this W, we have a higher W here, and you could have your stop loss basically just below this W here. So that's just one strategy that I use. But at this point, since we already got this reversal W, I mean, you would have already scalped your profits there if you were using that as a strategy. So that's one that I like to use sometimes. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but I've seen it play out very well. Quite often, to be honest. So something worth keeping in mind there. Especially if you can see that kind of thing line up with your own analysis, right? Like if you start seeing a W and then let's say a lower W, so you see the trend going down, and let's say it lines up with a support resist flip or something like that, or a double top, anything, let's say the Fibonacci pocket, like the 786 Fibonacci lines up with that. Just you're looking for as much confluence as you can find to support one idea, right? So the trending W's is definitely a fairly strong little bit of confluence I've been using. Yeah, Maddox doing okay. Since we broke this blue line, it's doing okay there. Even now, like, it would be risky. I don't think I'd want to take it. But, like, technically, as far as this trend goes, we're setting little higher highs. That's very micro-analyzing. So if you got, let's say we pulled back to this level and saw, like, green candles closing, it's possible it's just a continuation. But that's really micro-analyzing. That's pretty sloppy, or messy in here. I'm not feeling comfortable taking along there, but can see here on the Algo 3 on Solana right now, we also got this potential top. That's that little blue triangle. Those are also, I really like those for confluence as well. You guys will probably notice too, for anybody who hasn't been on many of my streams, you'll notice my indicators probably look quite a bit different than yours. You'll notice that mine are very clean. I don't have a ton of signals on them. I can bring up my preferences here. So basically, my settings, I have colors inverted, and that's just so I can see all the three indicators line up. Like I said, when I can see the oscillator 4, the Algo 3, the oscillator 5, all kind of blinking, let's say bright green, for example, maybe it's time to start looking for some scalps long. Whereas if everything's flashing red at me, then maybe it's time to get into a short. So that's why I use inverted colors. Trend 1, I use the volume weighted moving average, and I use the 5-minute as I'm scalping the 1-minute chart. My trend 2, I use EMA, and it's the 1 hour. There's no magical preferences here in the settings. It's just what I've always used, so it's just coming up with your own system that catches your eyes, right? I do use this moving average cloud, as you can see on my chart here. Other than that, I use my take profits, my tops, bottoms, reversal warnings, and I don't even use trend exhaustion usually. Yeah, I keep mine very bare bones here. Yeah, trend confluence. So that means if I bring up the signals, we will see long and short calls come into play here. If we turn on the trend confluence, basically trend 1 and trend 2 need to agree with each other, kind of a thing. So if I turn on auto settings, we'll probably lose some of these signals. I don't know if we lost any there. Oh, I turned on that. Whoops. I turned on auto settings. Auto settings will change trend 2 to basically whatever preset number that they have chosen to use with these indicators for the trends. Trend confluence, that should change some of the signals. Just give it a second to load here. I am not seeing them change. Oh, and then filter. Filter will only give them one direction, I believe. Yeah, there it really gets rid of a bunch of the signals. And I mean, so that's just basically since the trend was selling. Like, look, in a trending market, that trend confluence can be so powerful. I mean, look, you're only getting the sell calls on this trend. Absolutely beautiful, the amount of money you could have made by playing that. I usually don't have those signals up, and like, it's not always going to work out because sometimes the markets get a little choppy, and that's where this isn't going to work out quite as good like down here. But even that, with a proper stop loss, I mean, you can get out of these positions with a little bit of profits if you're scalping quite easily there. But yeah, in a trending market, that's just such a powerful feature. But again, I mean, it says it right in the name, right? It's trend confluence. If it's not a trending market, like obviously last night it was trending very aggressively to that downside and it plays out beautifully, but that's not always the case. But yeah, that can be beautiful. I am really excited to use that when the bull market starts actually going parabolic. I think that trend confluence is going to be such a powerful feature. I think that's going to be just a game changer. So right now, something interesting that's making me want to actually cancel my order up here is the fact that we have another W trying to flash a little higher. I want to see what's going to happen here. Like if we get this W here and we get a higher bearish W, let's say up here, I mean, that's where these might be reversing, right? It might be pointing out that we're getting some kind of a reversal and trending to the upside. So I don't really want to see that as far as my short goes. Yeah, exactly. Trend confluence in the actual bull market is just going to be nuts. You'll be able to get into a long and then take a little profits on the way, and then anytime you see a pullback and the trend confluence says long again, just add right back in. It could be a wild time. Better to trade or hold in a bull market. It really depends. It really depends, honestly. I know a lot of people say that just holding spot, you're better off, and it's hard to beat those gains in a parabolic market. But I know last bull market, like I don't know, if I didn't trade, I would have made significantly less Last bull market, I did pretty good for a while, and you can definitely multiply your gains if you're trading. But that being said, obviously you can, you can lose some of those holdings. Obviously, there's a risk with that, right? So if you start losing a bunch of your holdings in the bull market, that's a very harsh lesson to learn when you're poor after everything moons. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Hold BTC and use it as margin to trade as well. That's a very good point. Is quite often in a bull market, let's say even if I'm trading spot, whether I'm trading spot, looking at leverage or anything, quite often if I'm looking at altcoins in a bull market, I will use the trading pair versus BTC. Whereas if I'm not so sure, or if I'm sure it's a bear market, I like to compare those things to the US dollar price. Bear market, I like to compare to stable coins. Bull market, I like to compare to BTC, because in a bull market, obviously the goal is to outperform Bitcoin, if anything, right? And that's probably also not for everybody, but that's what I like to do. Interesting. These last two bearish W's are like perfectly in line with each other. This one's actually slightly lower. I don't know if I'm going to consider that to work with my strategy, though, because it's so weird. It's not really on the same trend. I haven't back tested that whatsoever, so I'm not going to give that any weight right now. It's just interesting. I just noticed that. Let's see if it works. This will be a learning experience for all of us. I think ideally for a Bitcoin long right now, we see some kind of rejection here and come back down and see a higher W. And then we could have our stop loss basically below this one to try and catch a bit of a scalp. Yeah, I'm not going to close any more of my short for now. I am just going to leave my limit short up here. If I was being cautious and I wasn't already in the position and taking profits and stuff, I'd want to see how we react with this yellow line. But since I'm really just hoping that this trend carries on, I'm going to keep that limit short here. And where is my stop loss? Let me just check my phone here. And as well, where is my other limit order? So you can see I have another limit order just below my lower high structure here, and just a little wiggle room on the stop loss there. So obviously if I hit my limit order here, I'm going to drop my average entry, which is this blue line here. It'll obviously drop down and probably very close to a break-even stop. I feel even more like a degen than normal by setting blind limit orders. Normally I don't do that, just because I'm on here and because I'm already in that position. I'm willing to do it, and I'm not really opening myself up to any risk, just, well, other than risk of losing the rest of the profits on this position, but there's not much open anymore anyways, so. What's everyone else feeling? Are you guys in any positions at all? Feeling strongly about any coins in particular? Want me to check any coins? Something I wanted to touch on with Bitcoin, I know I kind of bring this up in every stream too, is I was quite vocal thinking that we would get up towards this 48,000 US dollar level, this yellow line, which would be the 618 Fibonacci, just because every previous bear market has kind of got that bear market rally up to that level before some, like a 40%. How big were these crashes after testing that? This one back here was a 40% correction. This one here, that was a 70% correction. I truly believe we would have stopped somewhere in this blue box had COVID not happened. That's a bit of a black swan event, but I mean, you can see the candle bodies still respected that blue box. What I don't like to see right now is that Bitcoin's struggling with the blue box that I would have been watching in these previous market cycles. This would basically be our 6K resistance from last market cycle. Looking at it very similarly, I just don't like that we're actually looking like we're kind of getting rejected here. I was hoping we were just kind of tapping away at this resistance, getting ready to bull flag up towards this target. It's looking less and less likely at this point. Maybe we need some kind of a pullback before trying again. Maybe we get a pullback all the way back down, because I mean, market cycles tend to get longer as well, so maybe this is just kind of the start of accumulation zone, and we do just kind of chop around in this big range for another year or two. I mean, that's absolutely possible, guys. Bitcoin with a bottom here, interesting, right on the green cloud. There's still some resistance there. I'm not super confident taking a long on Bitcoin here. Also the fact that we have this potential resistance here. Seeing some bearish signs on the indicators here. As far as the 1 minute goes, again, guys, keep in mind this is the 1 minute. If Matic, see, we kind of had a high here, higher high here. Lowest point between the two would be about right here. If Matic loses and actually closes candle bodies below that level, I'd be interested in taking, and I'm probably not going to enter another position. I'm going to stick to my Solana and just scale into that one if anything, but I could see Matic taking a little plunge, something like that. What kind of a percent move would that be? 1.22%, throw a little leverage on there. That could be a decent one, but it's premature to call that right now. As it stands right now on this very micro swing here, that's still our support, so. Actually, notice that the moving average cloud is right on that trend line too. That's a perfect example of just seeing the indicators line up with your own analysis. I mean, this could be an excellent buy to rebuy support here. Very tight stop loss if it's wrong. But yeah, if this breaks, I think it's a pretty quick shot back down. One thing I'm a bit concerned about is not having a blow off top this cycle. You mean back when we topped out at like 69K or whatever? Because I know that was one thing that a lot of influencers, myself included, I found it weird that we never did get a blow off top. It was more of a double top, triple top, if anything, almost like a rising wedge, actually. I mean, or more of a double here. You know, looking back, that is a fucking perfect double top for my standards. I love to do a box when we form some kind of a top out like this. I like to use the whole wick area, so from candle bodies to the top of the wick. And you can see that obviously we got this little fake out here, so I would actually raise that to the top of this red wick. We never got any candle bodies closing above that. Just a beautiful double top. I was blindsided by this. I'm not gonna lie. I was totally getting a little euphoric. Just I'm human, just like everybody else. But looking back, that was a beautiful double top. What were the indicators saying, I wonder? Oh, I don't have them loaded. Load the ALGO 3, 4, 5. Speaking of updating here, I'll just show you how I do it real quick. See, here's where, actually, just going to show you how I very quickly update my stuff while we let the price do stuff. Once you do that once or twice, it gets very quick. See, this is what I mean by the candles look a little funny. If you don't do that first step, you can see they change colors and shit. It just doesn't look super crisp. So that's where you want to right click on a signal or just hit the three dots, visual order, bring to front, and that keeps it nice and clean like that. Gradient 1 is my favorite color. Oh yeah, sexy. BTC looking a little weak. Oh, that's the weekly. Ooh. Oh, leggies. I know these are trending up, but right now be very on alert for a lower W at some point. If we get some kind of a correction and come back up and see another W, whew, that could be scary. I don't like that we have a W here. We have the red cloud here, and we have this little blue triangle top. That's not great. Especially at such a strong level of old support flipping into resistance. Ooh, that's not pretty. Not gonna lie. The red cloud is just resistance. Just a whole range of resistance rather than specifically like an exact moving average line kind of a thing. It's kind of like the Ichimoku cloud. Yeah, just a cloud of resistance. Again, just to be used as confluence, like maybe you can develop your own strategy around that. Let's say I'm just tossing out random ideas what to look for. Let's say inside a red cloud you see double tops show up with reversal warnings or something like that. Maybe that's a trade strategy that ends up working out quite well. There's so many ways to configure these indicators that there's probably hundreds of different trade strategies you could use. And I haven't been using this cloud for very long. It actually hasn't been a feature for too long either. But looking for bearish reversals in the red cloud, looking for bullish reversals in the green cloud, as confluence could definitely be a strong little bit of confluence for trade setups. The fact that my support resist flip is here with the reversal warning and a potential top here all lining up inside that red cloud, I mean, that might be an example of that happening. Again, I haven't back tested it myself yet. Just something to be a little cautious about right now. Wouldn't hurt to go back in the charts and actually do a little back testing on that. See how it's played out in the past. I might do that later today. Let's see. I'm going to turn on those signals. I'm actually going to throw on auto settings too. I don't need my 5-minute and my 1 hour chart moving averages, so auto settings will just take care of it for me. We did have a... See, this is one of those things, and this is why I personally don't usually have the signals on, is like quite often it's great, especially in a trending market like I was showing before, but you have to be a little bit cautious with things like this because we had this big eclipsing candle, which is great. As far as structure goes, you know, this was our lower high, and as we broke that, that's when it gave us the buy signal, so this should be bullish structure. However, it kind of gave us that buy signal right into resistance, so there's a little bit of conflicting stories there. As far as a spot buy, I think absolutely, you know, now the structure looks like it's a little bullish, so now you could start laddering in towards your invalidation, basically. But yeah, I just, as far as the art of war goes, you know your enemy. I am my greatest enemy by far. I like to FOMO a little bit, so when I have these signals, I'm less likely to look at my own analysis, so that's just kind of why I turn them off. But again, I just have so many other strategies I use with these indicators that it totally depends what works for you, right? I keep mine fairly clean. Like I said, the only things I really have is take profits, reversal warnings, tops, bottoms. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Damn, we got so close to my additional entry. I wish we would have got that little scam wick up. The multiple divergence indicators. Are you talking about these ones? They should show up in a second. Yeah, those yellow little house-shaped ones. Yeah, those can be quite powerful too. I just really like keeping my charts super clean and not having too many signals, because sometimes they overlap and then I miss the strategies that I already have in place. But I'm sure you could do the same thing, right? If you notice these signals changing directions. Actually, yeah, I can see one right now. Absolutely fucking perfect. Doesn't have to be the reversal warnings. Really, any signal that the indicator gives you. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know for sure. I haven't done much back testing, but they can really just help point out which way the trend is going, or if you're going to get some kind of a reversal. I mean, look what happened here. We had this signal, and then we had a higher one, and boom, look what happened. Just absolutely blew up. I mean, if you had too tight of a stop loss here, obviously this would have got you as that liquidity hunt. But if you waited for that breakout, for example, I mean... It really depends, I guess, how loose your stop loss was here, but this was definitely a big warning that a very large move was coming. I mean, what did that even give us here? Let's say even from here, an 8% move. I mean, that's quite a bit for so long. Oh, this is only a 1 minute too, right? So 8%, a very quick move. How long did that take? So that took less than an hour. it moved 8% to the upside with a little bit of leverage. That's a big play. So yeah, just pay attention to that, guys, moving forward. Let me know how that works. Just pay attention to whatever signals that you prefer to use with these indicators. Start trying to pay attention to when they switch directions. Like even, I mean, here we already had the warning, right? We had one here, higher one, higher one, higher one. You can see them trending higher. And each time they're trending higher, I mean, it would be beautiful scalps. Again, it's not going to work out every time, but yeah, just pay attention to if that works out for whatever signals you prefer to watch on the indicators. Should be interesting. Let me know, do you guys have any strategies specifically that you've enjoyed using these indicators for? Like, the only other indicator I've really used in my trading career has been the RSI. Other than that, oh, I got a little more of my entry in. We'll see if I end up getting stopped out on the rest of my position or not. If we do, whatever. Yeah, like the RSI is really the only other indicator I've used before these, but ever since getting these indicators, this is really all I use. Still use the RSI a little bit for specific double top, double bottom strategies. So this is one of those situations right now. Well, yeah, look, right now it's already trying to get a failed break here. So interesting that we're respecting this level. Again, this is our lower high currently on this swing. The one thing that does still make me question this short is I saw it trying to flip a W there. We do have these bearish W's climbing right now, so they're clearly in an uptrend. That's something to watch for right now. But as far as the basic structure goes, I mean, this is the level I want to see us get rejected at as far as my short goes. Lord Drake, as ever, I am late. Please, can you touch on the cloud? Never had it on. The cloud, just basically confluence as far as support resistance. Just like it says, it's a moving average cloud. So just rather than a pinpoint line like this, it's just kind of watching a whole area for support or resistance rather than one specific area or one specific touch point. Hear good things about the Bollinger Bands. I assume that's what you mean by BB. Haven't dialed it in yet. Confused on the fast slow option. Is that on the ALGO 3 or the 4? Where are we here? Oh, bands, fast and slow. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna remove a few things here. Oh yeah, so far that rejection's looking good. So far. Yeah, I honestly haven't used the bands yet, so I'm not sure if I'll have the answer. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be seeing. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, so just basically Bollinger Bands. Oh, yeah, yeah. So the fast ones, you'd obviously be looking at a tighter range. Just quicker moves, shorter scalps, basically. Yeah, that looks like it works fairly well, hey? Definitely respected. Again, these bands are also just kind of pointing out the trend, right? Like we are trending to the upside, but just kind of being cautious as they're tapping away at resistance there. So yeah, I guess the fast versus slow for this would just be kind of what type of a scalp you're looking for, I would say. Like if you're looking for a quick scalp, let's say shorting now and taking profits as you get near the bottom of the bands. Whereas obviously if you have the slow ones, there would just be a little more wiggle room. It'll probably grow quite a bit. Yeah, just looking for a bigger, slower, more controlled move. Again, I haven't used them myself, so take my words for what they are. I haven't done back testing with them or anything, just totally going off what I see right now. But yeah, that might be an interesting one to add to my little arsenal of scalping tools, because yeah, as you kind of get near the top, you know, try hard to resist the FOMO, for example. Did I get more into my... Oh yeah, I did add into my short there. Where is my average entry now? 15. Oops. So that's where my average entry is right now. Basically right where we topped out. Since adding into my position there. So again, I ruined my average entry a little bit, but that's basically perfect. My stop loss, what did I say I had it at? 15,446. I was very close to getting stopped out too. So I would, if we reverse right now, I would take a very minimal loss on this position. But again, like on the short that I took from up here down to these levels and closed 3/4 of it, I mean, I took more profits on that than I would end up losing here. So I'm still not worried about this. And so far, yeah, that's perfect. That is textbook analysis. As I told you guys, I mean, this is the level that, as we had this low, lower low, lower high, look how well got that exact failed break. That's exactly what I was looking for before. So yeah, I'm hoping this really turns into a runner here. I might actually update my stop loss to break even just because if we get back above this line, I'm not so sure it's going to hold as resistance again. Let's see here. No, you know what? It's a 2.5% loss on a 20x trade. I can live with myself if that happens for now. Yeah, Bitcoin's still struggling with that resistance box. The 5-minute trend has flipped. But it's still looking weak. Matic, let's see. We did break that support level. Let's see if we end up getting the dump down to this trend line. Not positive it's going to happen. Maybe we only make it down to this trend or double bottom here or something. Again, I'm not interested in opening another position here, but I wouldn't be all too surprised to see Matic test down here. BTC 15, absolutely. This is interesting. We had an interesting failed break here. Obviously had our support box there with our fake out. Something that I like to do, like this is just textbook fake out. I mean, you could get into a position there after we got that fake out, kind of a double bottom, even had this bullish divergence, had this bullish pivot over here. So yeah, there was some things lining up with the double bottom there. So that would have been a nice position to be in briefly there. But after that happens, what I like to do, especially when trying to determine a stop loss and stuff, quite often you'll end up pulling back. And like if you get a fake out like this, quite often it's hinting at where the market's going to go for a third touch point. So if I were to kind of update, rather than keeping this as my support, I'd actually give it a little more wiggle room, something like that. Again, just a little bit of a fake out, so I would be adjusting this. I really wouldn't be too surprised to see us kind of end up testing that line again. That's the one thing when you get these fake outs, it kind of opens up the range that you're trading in. So things get a little more unprecise, I guess. Makes it a little harder to trade. But as it stands right now, that support's still trying to hold. Just getting those fake out wicks. Yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, as far as the swing on this structure goes, I mean, we'd kind of be looking at, let's say between here, lower high, after we broke this level, we're way down here. I mean, currently the lower high on the 15-minute is way up here. So obviously if you're trying to short now, it would be a little risky. Where I'd be more interested in taking a short is if we ended up getting up here and once again getting kind of a swing fail, just seeing this lower high act as resistance, some kind of a failed break there. I'd be very interested in shorting something like that. But there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. Let's zoom out a little more. That's actually damn near a perfect double bottom when you really zoom out there. Again, I would do more something, I look at boxes more than just trend lines, so I'd be looking at something like that as far as double bottom support. And I mean, yeah, the market definitely respected that. Even if it was just briefly, there was a nice little bounce there on a shorter time frame. You could have scalped something for sure. Even the 4 hours trying to find support. The only thing that I don't like yet is, once again, we have, let me just clean things up a little bit. We have that low, lower low. So our lower high is way up here. That's still a downtrending market as far as this swing goes on the 4 hour. So even if we could get a very nice bounce and still be quite bearish on this chart. So you just want to keep an eye on my Solana trade here. If we end up flipping this cloud back to green, I'll probably close half my position. Since I'm just scalping the 1 minute, not necessarily looking for a home run trade, right? So as soon as it looks like there's any weakness in my position, I'm going to downsize it a little bit. Another thing I will be looking for to downsize my position, maybe even open a hedged long, would be, since we have on this swing, we have this high and we have a higher high, this would be our higher low. So if we came back down to this box and start closing green candles, I would actually be willing to take a little bit of a hedge long with a stop loss just kind of somewhere down here. But we have to see how that goes there. Because that way, if I can get into a hedge long somewhere along here and my stop loss is, only something like that, then you know what? If it ends up getting stopped out, that just means that my short's going to be in a juicy position. And if we get the bounce there, then if I didn't take enough profits on my short, then at least I got some profits coming on my long. So not a bad idea to get into a hedge if we see that, but that's a very specific thing I'd be looking for. No, I hedge on the same exchange. I've been trading on MEXC lately, and you can turn on hedge mode so you can have positions open in both directions. What's that cloud doing? Did it flip green? It did flip green. What are the other indicators saying? The other indicators are kind of in no man's land. The money flow is red. That's this big juicy red cloud down here. So there's definitely some sell pressure there. Oh, Maddox trying to prove something here. Notice the W's trending lower. Let's see. It hasn't locked in yet. It won't be locked in until this candle body closes. But that would be one of those situations where if you wanted to use that strategy, since the W's are reversing, then you would just have your stop loss kind of somewhere above this W a little bit. But gotta wait for that confirmed second one. Just because things are trying to bounce, I'm gonna take a little more profits. Taking profits when you have them, never a bad idea. So I'm going to take a little bit. I am hoping the rest of this trade does just continue to the downside, but just to keep emotions out of it, sometimes it's better to reduce your risk, take a little more off the table. That way there's no regrets. Got this little top signal again. Now with this signal, those little blue triangles, tops and bottoms, this one actually isn't confirmed yet. So this is a little different than the W's. This is actually confirmed with the next candle. So it's not confirmed until this candle closes. Just basically going to show you, it wants to see how the market reacts to the level that it thought might be a top. See what the following candle does basically before it decides. But I mean, if it just fucking dumps from there, then it's, especially on such a short time frame, I mean, you might miss the whole move that the signal's calling for. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Beautiful. Look at that. Third touch point on that diagonal trend line and the lower W there. I mean, the thing to remember is, I mean, since it's a 1 minute chart, this could reverse very quickly and you're going to want to start taking profits quickly. But yeah, just there's a perfect example of we got that lower W matched up with our own analysis here, a trend line. See if we can get a big dump with this reversal. So again, guys, just watch for that. And again, not just the reversal warnings, but the other signals in the charts too with the ALGO 3. Like, ooh, it really has something to prove here. It wants to invalidate the shit out of that. It might not hold. And especially now with 3 touch points on this trend line, if a candle body closes above this resistance, I'd be hesitant to hold on to that short. I think basically if we break above this, you know, a little bit of wiggle room above this one, obviously, but if we break above that, I mean, I think then we have to start watching this level. Watch for some kind of a double top. Ooh. Yeah, that has something to prove there. Oh boy, hopefully you had a stop loss. I might get stopped out on the rest of mine too. Look how quickly we got a bottom there. Yeah, I'm only comfortable being in one position at a time because I would rather just add back into this position when I already have a safe stop loss. So I'm really hoping this one just runs. I don't want to get stopped out of this one yet. I don't want to have to find a new position quite yet. I'd rather just let this one run, to be honest. But it's seeing some strength. We got that green cloud here. I'm not sure if this one will turn into much of a runner from here. I mean, we still don't have a candle body close above this level, though. As long as they're just wicks, it is so far just a fake out, but we are, I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're starting to tap away at it, so it might get a little weaker. Holy. That's dirty. That's a messy one. Solana really hugging that trend line. I mean, even if it blows past right now and stops me out on the rest, I mean, you can see that it's respecting that fairly well. And it actually, looking for targets, I was talking about 786, 886 Fibonacci's earlier. If you use that pocket as a take profit, which I quite often do, this would be a perfect example of, you know, we had our high here, we had our higher high. Well, where is this most likely going to pull back to? Probably that fib pocket. Yeah, the 786 pretty much perfect. So keep that in mind too when you're in positions. Keep an eye on those Fibonacci levels. They can be great targets, both for entering trades and exiting trades, really. Oh, here we got the old W trying to form here. Will it backfire like the Matic one, or is Solana a little more reliable? We'll see. Also, it's not locked in yet, so remember that. Another thing with these strategies, guys, every trading pair might have a little bit different characteristics. So that's why, again, I do say it's important to do back testing and stuff like that, because for all I know, these strategies might not work on these altcoins all too great. I've mostly watched that on Bitcoin. So when you're trying to find strategies and stuff, oh, there goes the rest of my position. When you're finding strategies, yeah, just back testing and finding what works for you and what trading pairs you like to watch specifically. Pretty important when you're coming up with strategies. Yeah, I am out of that position now, but actually ended up taking a decent little profit on that position, so I'm okay with that. And again, I guess that's why I said I'm always quick to take profits on those snipes. Like I said, I took a little more profits when we were trading at this level here, just in case something like that happened. Reduced some risk, took a little more profits, and then got stopped out on the rest. No big deal. The trade setup, yeah, that's something I haven't really looked here. Let me just remove some drawings here. Let's bring up the old trade setup. I assume it has a nice juicy long somewhere here. Oh, a short from. Are you talking about the 1 minute as well? Is this the one you're talking about? Yeah, nice sell signal right there. Never did get stopped out. Hit take profit one, very close to take profit two. Never quite reached that level, but it did get a TP signal here. So, I mean, yeah, that was a beautiful play there. And this is something that I flip on from time to time. Like, again, I tend to pick my own entries. I don't always want to rely on something else for picking my entries. But one thing I really like using this for is just taking profit levels. It's very easy when you get into a position and you're in a winning position, especially. You like to feel like the smartest man in the world, and you might want to double down or triple down on your position when in reality this indicator will scream in your face, hey, take profits. It gives you exact levels. There's no reason not to. Just something to really throw it in your face. And that's good, just because sometimes I would honestly say that taking profits in trading is the hardest thing you can do. It's so easy to just want to let your position turn into a home run trade because, hey, once in a while you get lucky and nail one of those good trades, and then every time you try and get into a scalp after that, you're thinking, oh, you know, last time I made a lot more, so I want to make at least that much or whatever, when it might not be a realistic option. Where this is where you can look for those nice controlled targets, right? Let's check some other time frames. What is this thing looking like? I'm tempted to take a short just on this. This is one of those times where the risk reward ratio is so large. Your stop loss is so tight, and your take profits are so far. Let's see, 11% to the downside, less than 1%. You're looking at more than a 10 to 1 risk reward ratio if you were to take this setup right now. Not saying it's probable because it's obviously looking weak as far as a short setup goes. It was saying to take a short right about here, but we're so close to the stop loss, the loss would be so minimal. That's another little strategy I use sometimes too. It's more of a coin toss, to be honest, the way I look at it. But just again, that risk reward is such a tight stop loss compared to where your take profits are. That can be quite juicy. I would personally actually have my stop a little looser. I'd have it at least above this structure here. That's just me personally. I might take that. I think I'm just gonna ladder in a position, just 3 small entries up towards that level. Stop loss somewhere up here. Just so, because it's so tight, it'll be such a small loss. I'm willing to roll the dice on this one. No promises, not financial advice by any means. Like I said, it's a risky one. Yeah, I'm just gonna do. I have a order amount in mind. I'm gonna split that up into 3 separate orders and ladder them in up towards my stop, so that the average entry will actually just get better. So it will be a very small loss if it happens. Set my stop somewhere up here. 15, 16. Actually, I could tighten that up a little bit. So I entered a small position here already. Gonna set another entry right at the tops of these wicks here. Basically 15, 5, let's do 569. My actual stop. Yeah, again, the only thing making me take this is just straight up the risk-reward ratio here, based on this trade setup feature. Like take profit or stop? Basically these TPs that this indicator is lining out for us, or mapping out for us. I'm gonna at least set a take profit just shy of the TP1. I don't even know if we'll make it there, to be honest, just because we're so close to the stop right now. But I am gonna set half of my TP down here, and I'm gonna leave half of it. I'm just going to leave the other half so that if things start to reverse or whatever, I can just manually close the other half. I don't like that we have these bullish bottoms here. That's kind of working us against us here, but let's see. The 1 minute nailed it. Let's see how this thing does on the 5. I also like that we at least dropped this little bit of support, but oh yeah, there we go. One minute trying to find support on this cloud here. Which is working against us right now, obviously. My cloud settings, whatever it came as, what is it? Double exponential and just 200. I don't know if there's any specific adjustment I should make to make it more accurate. That's just how it came, so that's just how I left it. Don't like how we have this green cloud on the 1 minute, to be honest. I am tempted to just close that position, but Usually scalping, if there's anything that makes me second guess my position, I usually just bail on it. But I never even hit my other 2 entries up here, so I'll just leave it for now. I'm wondering if we don't actually get some kind of a bounce all the way up here. Watch for this level too. For a scalp later if we end up climbing. It's because we have this resistance back here. We did very brief support, obviously resistance again. And that's kind of before this, that's right where this downtrend kind of started. So both these red boxes could actually end up being a rejection point. We'll have to see. I like that Bitcoin closed above this yellow line here. I mean, as far as looking for a scalp, might be a decent time for a long here with a stop loss just kind of below this level here. So we have our little high, higher high as far as a very micro trend goes here. I'm not willing to take that one. Again, I don't need to open myself up to another risky position when I'm already in one. I'm actually going to cancel my other orders. I'm just going to keep this a very small position. I want to see how we react with this red cloud up here if we do get up here. And honestly, right now, like with how we've dumped here, I think more so if we get back above this structure here, I'll probably actually cut my losses fairly quickly. I am actually going to update my stop loss. And even if we end up closing a green candle above this, I might just bail on my position. Just take it for what it is. Either take a very small gain or a very small loss. Actually, here. Stop loss. Maybe I won't update it yet. Let's keep it where I had it. There we go. For now, I want to see what happens here. Don't want to tighten it up too much. No matter what time frame you're playing on this weekend, Leggies, be careful because it is obviously super volatile. Like really, even the fact that we didn't get a close below this level, we just kind of closed right on top of that little bit of support there. I probably should have just locked in half my position here and called it a very small scalp just to reduce that risk, just because, again, it's so volatile. It is a little dangerous right now. I'm feeling a little cocky since I did have a good win earlier. I know I shouldn't try and give those gains back to the market, but here we are. I was hoping we'd at least drop down to this box before finding support, just because then again, on as far as this trend goes, we would be finding support at our higher low. That's where I would really like to get to before taking profits, but we don't always get what we want. I hate to be flip-floppy, but the more I look at this, the more I am tempted to close this right away as I'm sitting in a very small profit or break even. The fact is we do have that higher high, higher low structure, so I should probably be looking for a scalp at this point in the long direction, especially since we broke that old resistance I was looking at. We actually got candle bodies closing above that. I should almost be focusing on longs until I see what happens up at this red box. Right on. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. Hopefully some things I said have helped, or maybe help you come up with your own trade strategy or anything like that. But feel free to shoot me a message if you ever have questions about the indicators or anything like that. That goes for anyone. Just post a message in the indicators group or whatever. But yeah, I should really try and get out of this position. I don't like that we have these higher highs. Especially you, Nicholas. You can shoot me a message. I think I am going to try and wrap up this session right away. I was really hoping to see something come out of this position, but I might not get another profitable trade here. I think I'm going to bail on this position. I am. I'm going to fucking market close it. I just don't like that we have this high and this higher high here. I just don't like that. I'm not comfortable in a short right now. I'm going to wait until I see what happens up here. Basically closed at break even just to reduce my risk there. It was a 1% loss. I'm okay with that. I'll be able to sleep tonight, since I just won like a 70% trade right before that. Yeah, I think that's about where I'm going to leave it. It just starts taking too long. As far as a very micro time frame goes, you guys, we do have this low, a lower low, and that would mean that this level is currently our lower high. So we do still have resistance here. Maybe we do still get that pull back to this red box. Just before I take off here, just something that I will be looking for after closing this. I do have a feeling we're going to come down there, but I'm okay sitting on the sidelines for this. I want to see how we react with this. If we start getting green candle bodies closing along this red box, I'm going to look for a snipe long, just a bit of a scalp. But yeah, we're going to have to see how that goes. Again, I just don't like this structure. It's trending up on a very micro time frame here, so I'm not comfortable holding that short. And that's a part of it, guys. If you ever, I mean, sometimes it pays to either exit a position early or even to reduce the size if you're unsure and you just want to scale back your position by half or anything. Like, risk management is a very important part of trading. Obviously, you want to be able to hit those wins, and right now, yeah, I really have a feeling I could short this right down to this red box. It'll probably happen right now. I'm just not comfortable with it right now with the risk there. So I want to either see a short up in this red box, see some kind of a failed break, or I want to see a failed break or just kind of support down at this red box. Those are kind of the two levels I'm watching right now on a very small range here. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, why, if something isn't clicking and you're not sure why I'm watching up here or down here, for example. Yeah, I really have a feeling we're going to test that level and then do something like so. But we're going to have to see. A lot of what ifs between now and then. So anyways, guys, that's about what I'm watching for. For those of you who aren't here live with me right now and you're catching this later, if you appreciated being able to see kind of what we're looking at in some of these live streams, and you appreciate seeing how I analyze the charts live, just seeing how I'm reacting and keeping a level head about things, yeah, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you do want to be a part of these live streams, and I'm not the only coach in this Discord, there's a handful of us who do our events. There's events pretty much every day in the MDX Cryptos private VIP here, the MDX ALGO. So on top of the indicators, if that is something that interests you, I do have a referral link down below to get hooked up. And if you do that, if you do like these indicators I use and you want to try them, make sure to also get involved with this Discord, because honestly I think the indicators are less than half the value. The fact that we have coaches in here, there's other people giving their insights, giving different trading strategies, just a very helpful community, very active traders. You ever need help, it's, like I said, super supportive, great community to be a part of. So definitely get involved if that's something that interests you. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.